Okay, let's get to rocking and rolling. This is the conclusion to the last part, The Labor Company by H.G. Wells. I've thought about this a lot, and I've just been pushing buttons and stuff and deleting excess data. What happened on the last one was it said I had reached my file limit. When I started getting towards the end of my memory, it limited me about 8 gigs. I want to leave enough space on there for anyway. Technical difficulty explained. I had to go back and delete a bunch of video files that eat up a lot of memory. I do it regularly anyway. The Labor Company. Listen to the last part of the last video. The point I want to make is that, like in the explosive growth, and this planet is exploding, is that you really can't do away with capitalism. I think that the stock market ought to be destroyed because that's the first step in ending the absolute control and domination of the military-industrial complex. And we've got to do something to really help people who are in need without all this bloated, monstrous government. And we're all going to have to go through a hard period at some point in time here. But there needs to be a final solution so that politicians don't keep using, homeless and others as political pawns and never solving the problem. H.G. Wells presented us with a solution a long time ago, which was a private company. Think about it. Private companies out there all the time, and even government, need temporary, skilled, and unskilled labor, human resources. They call it human capital now. So this is basically, we changed the law that says that if you have need of temporary services, and especially anything that's needed by the government, material things or temporary labor, has to go towards, by law, to the labor company. When you get busted and broke, you have no place to live. You've run out of money to pay your rent and stuff. You go into the labor company. You put on the labor company uniform. You don't get to play all of your identity games or be oppressive or to others, or boom, you're out. If you refuse to work, you're able-bodied, you're out on the street. Good luck with you. If you're going to be, if you want to be the toothless hobo on a string, you go right the hell on. And unfortunately, you're going to be spending your life in a prison. These labor company things, they need to be compact for economic efficiency, but they don't need to be like a prison. Although there needs to be kind of a curfew and stuff, so in case there are sections where they have to sleep in fairly tight quarters and stuff like that. And I agree, I was talking about the German judge. You should still have a right, just like Reverend Ernest did, weed and alcohol and stuff. And I would even throw in benzodiazepines. Xanax is really not that. It's the least toxic and least addictive. Don't tell me that people get addicted to Xanax. Come on, man. Yeah, but your choice of drugs is not going to be everything that's on the market. Every possible thing is. Actually, that would be one of the first moves in this thing. Is we really got to, get totally control the waste. And this would be kind of like the waste reduction and creation of the labor company. Yeah, I know a lot of people make a living off of generating waste and then handling that waste. But we need to start thinking outside of the box. I know that's one of Deanne's jokes, and that's all she does is think about the box or whatever. That's a term for vagina. One of the hobo critics who's on here, I was complaining about something. He goes, I felt like I was in some fucking bar somewhere. He said it could be raining pussies and you'd still complain, man. Actually, I really don't have any uh, interest in sex anymore. What need of a woman does a holy man have? I'm here. Holy means heal. I'm here to try to heal minds and educate them and get them straight and on the path. And I think I've got about the only workable. So, not me, H.G. Wells. I'm just fleshing out his original idea. Shit. There's no way that I'm sorry. You come into the labor company, your wages will go to support you and the disabled and the medical facilities, which may be entirely separate from some sort of any kind of national health service. And the labor company, the private contract business, if there is any profit and stuff, if there is any, their ability to take any of that profit margin. Oh, that's okay. It's not in. Oh, my battery was not in battery saver mode. I'm sorry. These recent updates that I've been getting. No, They're already trying to get me to like buy another new phone. This is a brand new phone with Android 12. It's really trying to con me there. And anything beyond that 10% that would be seeing profit has to be because reinvested into the facilities or expansion of the corporation worldwide. It might be the first real global corporation that is by law and will be monitored by, if I was king, I'd have some badasses infiltrating that all the time. And if you stepped over the line, you wouldn't get out of a 4x6 cell for the rest of your. You'd never see sunlight again. Fucking with disabled, unemployed, or people who are at the mercy of the elements and other stuff. Please bear in mind, not every place on earth has the kind of weather of California or Texas or Florida. I got a pretty good idea on how to do this. I may try to create a more fleshed out business plan, but clearly 100% the government approach isn't working. People are falling through the loopholes all day long. Almost all government work is actually done by subcontractors anyway. You get my drift? When you call Social Security, you're talking to a subcontractor, maybe in New Mexico, who has access to all your information and could steal your identity if you have. Almost all government direct civil service employees do almost not a motherfucking thing. They have contract workers to do it for them. Or around holiday time, the Postal Service hires temporary workers. All those temp jobs would go to the labor company. You see where I'm going here? It can be done. And actually, in order to make the care and maintenance of the unemployed, the disabled, the young and the orphaned, the old and frail, is to do it efficiently. You've got to get government out of it. I sound like a libertarian. I absolutely am not. I don't know how to open this sort of thing up to investors in it because they're not going to see the monumental returns that they just announced that, the stock market's up around 35,000. There's almost no stock on the stock market that is worth current valuations. It's all 5 to 500 times over actual real value. That Dutch scam started 400 years ago has to be brought down in order to displace the military-industrial complex and to have a chance at getting some kind of care. God commands us. Conservatives, you liberals did not create sympathy. You liberals are actually hedonistic, immoral, amoral people that still carry the old mindset. This is where I'm going to get you people who are my loyal watchers here lately. You need to examine, you may already know, about the pre-axial period, before the Abrahamic face, and the laws that God gave to us. Torah means law. American law is based on Torah, on Jewish law. And y'all keep chipping away at that. You people that still have the mindset, I may finish up here. In the pre-axial period, if I had the physical strength, which I do, I'm like a natural born king. I don't care what you think. I've studied this subject. I carry the pinnacle of human evolution. The big brains, 28 teeth, not the modern devolved 32. Humans, they teach it in the most liberal of universities that humans have been devolving for tens of thousands of years. In my lifetime alone, average cranial capacity has gone from 1,600 cc's down to 1,400. And that's not saying that people with tiny brains like Keira Knightley or something like that, or somebody, you can accomplish maybe one great thing in your life, but that's going to be it as one. I've accomplished several things. I've had a lot of people, getting all smarmy with me and calling me and trying to puff up my ego, which I fight, calling me a Renaissance man back, almost 30 years ago. They were doing that when I debuted on TV here with my science show. There has to be a radical change, and we need to do it. The current system is, as I told you, left and right is funded by the military-industrial complex because their profit lies in that dichotomy. We need to end that dichotomy. And I'm still working on the financial part of it. But the first step would be to just close the fucking stock market and take your fucking losses. And everybody here would then actually be able to get bread that isn't full of toxic soybean oil, and it's made out of wheat that isn't, even though it's marked non-GMO project, it's still full of grains and cereal, grains and legumes that aren't, start out non-GMO, but they're then killed with glyphosate, Roundup, to desiccate them and rush them to market for top dollar. That's really almost all of this stuff is motivated. They own Big Pharma indirectly, discreetly, shell companies. It's really, they don't have to tell you where the money's coming from, really. If it's a publicly held company, there may be some, but I'm not quite sure how to do it, but I know one of the first steps is we do need to, there will be a period of austerity. A lot of people will die. People are dying now anyway. Jesus said it a long time ago, although I do not endorse Christianity. And then Thomas Malthus, the English statistician, proved it 1,700 years later. Jesus said, when Judas, his treasurer, was bitching about the amount of expensive oil that was being rubbed on his feet after he had been hoofing it around and getting people to join his cult of, Jew killers. That's what I want to start using the term now. And he just told Judas, the poor shall always be with us. And Thomas Malthus proved statistically that, yes, human population will always exceed food availability. This is not an easy subject. We have to deal with the problems of this striving for identity in people, which causes this excessive consumerism and waste. It creates a lot of jobs, but it creates a lot of waste and creates a lot of profit for people who then turn around and use that profit to invest into the military-industrial complex. I'm a Jew. I understand the economics on this planet a lot better than anybody that's in government right now. And there's a lot of things that can be done to start moving towards a more appropriate treatment. If you're out there, you're a free and independent, you're still going to have the right to own a gun, but you're not going to have the right to own a gun inside the labor company headquarters, because we figure that if you got a gun, you could go out and sell it to somebody else and get yourself another night in a hotel. You get my drift? You're going to have to pretty much come in there broke. You might be allowances, like if you have a vehicle, and that will allow us to not use, we have a contract for just one person to use your own vehicle. I've thought a lot about this. Use your own vehicle instead of having to use a labor company van that's built to take, up to 12 passengers or more or a bus to a work site. Savings on fuel. I've put a lot of people think I'm just sitting around staring into space. No, I'm thinking about shit like this. There is an answer. And we've got to take poor people, the weak and frail, the unemployed, and stuff, is the homeless, off the political table. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to finish with this. I can't remember which one. Was it Madison or Washington or one of the... didn't believe in political parties. They believed in voting for individual people who have their own individual ideas, kind of like me. But let me assure you, I have no intention of ever, please, I'm 70 years old. Kind of like Michael Faraday, I don't really want to get involved in politics other than being a rhetorician and trying to convince people to see things a different way than they're currently looking at them. And that's what I've done through these 2 lengthy videos regarding H.G. Wells' brilliant concept. Like I said, forget the romantic and how they escape. When you build up enough money, then you can leave. You're completely free to leave the labor company as soon as you get enough money. And maybe in the process, you land a permanent job somewhere by showing that you're a worker and or that you can generate, profit for a company and stuff, and you're free to leave. The young romantic couple in there, they escaped the labor company. He had to write that in there that way. They're in love. He had to kind of turn it into a love story in order to sell what was really a brilliant idea in caring for people. H.G. Wells was true. I tell people all the time, I am so proud to be English. Oxygen isotope proves in my teeth proves that I'm English. We're a unique tribe. We're not Anglo-Saxon, although I am part of Anglo-Saxon. And I am proud to be the most powerful nation to be birthed by Britain, the United States of America, and we could be the ones to implement what the Englishman, H.G. Wells, thought up in his head, a real functional labor company that would really look at the numbers before I go. Look at the numbers of what the government wastes compared to what the kind of company, because number one, we don't need that government bureaucracy to push you into the labor company. You show up there looking for work, ready to work, or you're disabled and homeless, houseless, you show up there and stuff to be sure that you get yourselves taken care of.